You know what's really funny is I'm about to record this podcast, which the title of it is How Do I Boost My Energy Without Relying on Caffeine and Sugar? And I'm outlining this, and I'm so tired that all I can think about is like, I just want a coffee. But that's okay. We're all human, have bad days, we have good days, but there's a lot you can do to prevent this happening on a daily basis. These days might be a rare occurrence, but yeah, let's not make this roller coaster of like, I'm tired, I'm high on coffee. Let's not make this a routine here, people. There's more that we can do. So let's get into the real strategies. All right, welcome everyone to the Pre-Diet Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Virtue, functional medicine nutritionist and owner of Parkside Nutrition. A few quick reminders here first before we get into this episode. Go for a walk today, move with intention. Fuel yourself for good health, good bowel movements, aka good poops, and good moods, and go to bed on time. Those are three great things that you can do quickly to feel better sooner. Also, make sure to follow or share this podcast, leave a review or a comment. This greatly helps me grow the show and share more real life nutrition advice with more people. And lastly, subscribe to the email list at parksidenutrition.com/subscribe. This will enroll you in the free Ship Friday email list, and you get a ton of free resources sent to your inbox every single Friday. Plus, you get access to the huge library of resources that I've already sent out over the previous few years. This is a great way to get access to a lot of free tools that can really change your health. All right, let's get into the show. Today, we're talking about how do I boost my energy without relying on caffeine and sugar. I get it. I've been there. I didn't like coffee for the longest time. Then I discovered its magical powers in college. And I would use those magical powers to study late into the night for finals week. No joke. I would literally take the campus bus to Dutch Brothers and buy not one, but two coffee drinks. One for the ride home, which took all of 5 minutes. And the second drink was to sip on while I was actually studying through the night. And let's be clear, they were not any kind of healthy versions of anything. They were fully loaded with caffeine, milk, lots and lots of sugar. And I can't honestly recommend this strategy. It was pretty terrible for my concentration, actually getting anything done without inducing a panic attack. It just wasn't very effective. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I see a lot of people and clients struggling to keep their energy levels up throughout the day. And if they don't have enough energy, then they usually start reaching for some quick fixes, some coffee, some high carb snacks, something that can help them cope and get us, I'm in that group sometimes too, get us or them through a busy period of feeling really tired and really fatigued. We got a lot going on, right? We have a lot of demands on our time. So let's get into the actual strategies. And I'm going to paint a bad picture for you of what I see a lot. And then I'm going to picture how we can do that scenario better. Okay. So lots of practical strategies going away from today's talk. So let's get into it. Let's help you actually boost your energy levels so you have good focus, concentration throughout the day without becoming overly reliant on these tools. So number one is going to be getting good sleep. Ideally, to get good sleep, some of my top things are no screens 1 to 2 hours before bed if we can help it. If you have to, at least adjusting your computer so you can reduce, or the screen, so you can reduce the blue light. So change it to the nighttime setting or get blue light blocking glasses. Try to adjust your eating schedule so we're not eating right before bed. Ideally, we're not going to bed either stuffed or starved. And if you can control it, I'd like a little bit lower carbs at dinner time. This just lower carbs, higher protein dinners usually give us a little bit better quality sleep, allow us to have really balanced blood sugars throughout the night, and can reduce the amount of times that we wake up. Lastly is going to be hydrating earlier in the day so we aren't cramming our water late into the evening and therefore getting up to pee throughout the night. The next one is going to be nutrition oriented. And there's a couple things here, so definitely pay attention to this. So eating balanced meals. Well, Allie, what does that mean? For most people that I see walking in off the street, that means increasing protein and moderating their carb intake. So increasing your protein, this is going to be like putting a log on the fire versus throwing little sticks of kindling. It might get the fire started. That fire is our energy level or our metabolism. And it's just not going to last very long. If I throw little twigs on there, it might catch quickly, but it's not going to sustain me for a very long period of time. And I want good energy throughout the day. So this is throwing protein on the fire. This is having protein at every meal, ideally. If you want an estimation, at bare minimum, 20 grams of protein per meal. And that is the absolute bare minimum for a meal, in my opinion. So ideally, it's actually more like 30, 40 grams if you have an overall calorie or if you have an overall protein goal for the day, ideally it's close to 30% of that goal. So keep that in mind if you're reading nutrition labels, so you make sure that you're getting enough. Moderating carbs. All right, so this is where the quote meat and potatoes is as far as our talk for today. So the first thing I want to talk about is creating a good rhythm with your meals and basically having consistent meals. And you can determine this. Some people do better with having two solid meals a day, three, four, five, six, if you're in that kind of bodybuilder realm of things. But to be honest, I find most people do really well with like three solid meals, maybe a snack or two. Most people can maintain that lifestyle wise, preparation wise. It's not overly demanding on their meal prep, etc. So, moderating the portion of carbs helps to keep our blood sugar pretty balanced and steady throughout the day. AKA, this is preventing really high highs or low lows. A good kind of visual for this is if you give a kid candy and they get really excited and then they crash, right? That's a good visual for their blood sugar. They're really hyper. They have all this energy in their system and they're running around. And then that is actually pretty stressful for the body. So the body tries to lower that fairly quickly. And that pushes us down into a really low low. And sometimes that can be a trigger for sugar cravings as well. That is a blood sugar roller coaster. It is stressful for the body. The body likes to stay in a certain range of things, and that's homeostasis. It likes to stay in a relatively consistent range for good health. Now, you might be thinking, well, some stress on the body is good. You're absolutely right. Some stress is a very good thing. Exercise stresses us out. Sometimes extreme temperatures can be a good stressor, and that's has its own health benefits, which we could talk about in another time. But for the most part, consistency is what we need more of. And when it comes to feeding ourselves well, in my experience, people need more practice. Yes, this is a practice. You need to practice feeding yourselves at good regular times, building balanced meals, things like that. We don't need as much practice with withholding meals or that type of thing. We need more practice building good meals. So let me paint a picture for you. You're really busy in the morning. You're rushing out the door to work. You're not hungry. You have no time for breakfast. So you grab a coffee and maybe some place called Starbucks and run to work. No shade on Starbucks. I do like their drinks. But you might get hungry around 10 or lunchtime. Then you eat something quickly in front of your desk, like a sandwich, bag of chips, piece of fruit, maybe a muffin. You might have had a muffin earlier before lunch as kind of like a snack 'cause you started to get hungry around 10 from the local coffee shop. That's a super common pattern, right? So after that lunch, let's think it's now like 3 to 4 p.m. Getting a little snacky, maybe a little bit ravenous. So you're going to need a snack before dinner. You grab something quick out of the pantry. Maybe that's some chips, some cookies, something that's going to get your energy levels up, or at least quiet the hunger monster, right? You're getting a little irritable, definitely hangry at this point, maybe a little bad mood, don't have energy, and all you really want to do is crash in front of the TV, eat some food. You definitely don't have any energy for the gym or walking or anything like that. So we have that meal. Maybe you have a good dinner. Maybe you don't. Maybe you grab something on the way home. Maybe you ate too much. Maybe you ate really late. Maybe you felt like you needed some wine to wind down or relax or grab a beer or something like that. And all of a sudden now we have impacted our sleep quality. Alcohol does not help sleep. Eating late doesn't help. Overeating doesn't help. So now we've impacted the quality sleep that we're going to get that night. And then the cycle kind of starts again, right? This sounds really common. These are all very normal things that we do. And I think sometimes it's hard to realize when we're in the moment of discomfort that these things aren't helping us get ahead or they're not helping us recover to have a better tomorrow, right? So if I can paint that picture again for you, but from a standpoint of how your body is perceiving that. So we'll take that same scenario, but I want you to imagine someone in the control room. This control room is your brain, and they're taking in all the information your body is getting throughout the day, okay? All right, so lights are on, we wake up, we're tired, don't have that much energy, possibly didn't sleep very well, really rushing for work. So I'm going to stop and get a Starbucks coffee for quote breakfast. Body reads that as like, okay, so I Didn't get any fuel this morning. Okay, well, I have coffee, so that will decrease my appetite. Coffee does suppress your appetite. So we're good for now, for a little bit, I guess. Still no protein. So to keep my blood sugar steady or carbs to fuel my activity, I guess, oh, yeah, I'm not getting any carbs or calories either to indicate that food is available in the environment. Okay, so let's increase cortisol. This is your brain talking. Let's increase cortisol for now, and that will increase my blood sugar to help me out to get me going. I've tried sending her the signal of, hey, you're hungry, go eat something. That hormone's called ghrelin, by the way. And nope, she is not paying attention to that one either. Doesn't matter. So we'll just keep carrying on and go with our coffee. Lunchtime. Okay, a bit of food is coming in. That's good. But oh man, that is a lot of carbs. Carbs, I'm not getting much protein here. She gave me a sandwich. Has two slices of turkey, a piece of cheese, a bag of potato chips, and an orange. Okay. That's a little bit of sugar, not a lot of protein. Let's tell the pancreas to release insulin quickly to get that blood sugar back down. Go, 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 release insulin. Well, that big spike in insulin causes that high blood sugar level to drop quite quickly. And sometimes it goes too low. This can cause us to want something sweet a couple hours after our meal. So we're not actually hungry per se, but we're craving something sweet because we need to boost that energy, need to boost that blood sugar again to get it out of that low, low range after crashing after the lunch, right? So this is quite often that post-lunch kind of slump is what we're feeling. And for reference, for those of you that do know nutrition numbers and things like that, if you were to plug in a typical lunch like that, like I said, two slices of white bread, chips, piece of fruit, the macros on that with about two slices of turkey, that would be 22 grams of protein. So not nothing, but could be better for sure. And I would argue sometimes it's just one slice of a protein, or if there's no protein, if it's just like cheese and, something else, that's going to be even lower. And it's about 60 grams of carbs, 27 grams of fat, about 600 calories, which is not an overly high amount of calories, and almost 7 grams of fiber. So not terrible. So I would say that a lot of meals could look way worse than this, but it's still not usually enough protein. And this meal on its own might not be terrible. But remember, this person didn't have breakfast. So they probably had, say they got a Frappuccino from Starbucks. Well, a grande, 16 ounce of that is going to be about 36 grams of carbs from that and about 5 grams of protein. So not much protein, mostly carbs. So they're already signing up for that sugar roller coaster because we didn't give ourselves that protein serving in the morning, right? And then maybe you grab that bran muffin. That could be another 45 grams of carbs. So you're getting to lunch, and after lunch, we've got quite a bit as far as carbs, maybe 140 grams, which is probably what someone could quite easily healthily have in a day, and only about 30 grams of protein for the overall. So not a lot. We are not very well balanced so far for this day, right? Plus, other things that the body's paying attention to is you didn't even stop to eat. So you probably didn't chew your food very well. It's not going to really help our digestion. We never really switched out of that state because you got to work and went go, 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 busy day, right? And your body never switched out of that sympathetic state. And that sympathetic state is when your nervous system is go, 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 running from the lion, trying to get stuff done, right? Versus when we're eating, we want to be in a parasympathetic state. We want to be in a rest and digest state. And this usually requires us checking out of work, chewing our food, paying attention to our food, taking some deep breaths, calming our system so we can actually have a really good chance at digesting things well. Another thing we can do to help our energy levels, aka our blood sugar levels, is the order of which we're eating. So if we were to maybe change our lunch option a little bit, so now maybe we have a salad and maybe a side of rice and some ground turkey or something like that. Even having that rice, even if that rice contributed the same amount of carbs as that sandwich did, if I eat that salad first, my blood sugar is going to be better balanced from having the vegetables and protein first, followed by that rice. Even if the total amount of macros and carbohydrates in that meal is the same as that sandwich, we're going to have a better glucose response. So order of eating, eat your protein, eat your vegetables first can drastically help you have better energy levels later and throughout the day. And then pay attention to how the meal affects you. Does it give you good energy or does it drain your energy? So really pay attention to that because your meals should make you feel more fueled, more energized, not make you want to fall asleep, right? If we're wanting to fall asleep after our meal, it didn't probably give us a very good balance or we potentially ate too much. So pay attention how you feel after your meals. Kind of mentioned this before, but chewing your food really, really well, almost till it's liquid. And hopefully you are doing this away from screens, away from distractions. Again, this just really helps our digestion. If our digestion is going really smoothly, that usually gives us more even, good energy levels throughout the day as well. One of my favorite ways, if you do find yourself a little bit sleepy after lunch, is moving your body. This is really important for after meals because this can help balance our blood sugar. So we just gave our body a bunch of nutrition and a bunch of fuel, and that fuel goes to our bloodstream after our digestion. It passes through our digestion, and that's great. But we also want to use that energy so that blood sugar level doesn't stay too high. So even going for a 10-15 minute walk around the block or around your building can really help actually give you a little bit of energy boost and wake you back up after your meal. Lastly, supplements. I always start with a food first approach, lifestyle approach. What habits can we do versus supplements? Because some people don't necessarily have a huge budget for this part of, their wellness. Nor do I think it's always necessary. They're helpful. They are supplements. They supplement a healthy lifestyle. They don't create a healthy lifestyle on their own. But some other tools that we can take advantage of. Green tea usually doesn't give us doesn't give us like the jittery feeling that coffee sometimes can have. Also, having coffee with a meal can kind of help reduce some of that jittery feeling. So having it with your breakfast, a breakfast that hopefully has protein in it. And then another supplement that can be helpful for people, and this is not medical advice, so please consult your provider before you start any supplements or change your routine at all. But L-carnitine can be a useful supplement, especially for those who struggle with low blood sugar and those who really get hangry and they have a hard time skipping meals. Not that I'm encouraging skipping meals, but if we have a good metabolism, if we are able to use our fat for fuel, if we're able to be adaptable in different situations, so if, meals get pushed back or whichever, we should be able to function. We shouldn't really have, extreme hunger or anything like that. L-carnitine is a key nutrient that helps your body literally transport fat into your mitochondria, which is the part of the cell that actually helps you burn fat for fuel. So sometimes this can be in low amounts. This is especially true if somebody is a plant-based diet or they're not eating a lot of animal proteins, because carnitine is usually found in muscle tissue or animal proteins that we eat. So that could be a factor. Again, this is not going to have anywhere near as strong of effect as balancing your meals, getting enough rest, hydrating, all those things that we already talked about. Protein supplement would be next on my list, simply because it's hard for some people to get enough protein, and that can impact their energy levels as well. So sometimes a protein shake or protein supplement can be very helpful to help that person balance out their meals a little bit better. And then lastly, as far as supplements would be sleep aids. Anything that helps you sleep and truly get good quality sleep, not something that just induces kind of a, groggy coma, that could be helpful as well. Some people work really well with melatonin, some people do not, but investigating some of that could be something as simple as a form of magnesium as well. But something that encourages that good sleep routine, I would say could be very beneficial because it'll have good positive repercussions down the line. The last thing I want to kind of paint for you. So I kind of painted that terrible picture, right? Of the Starbucks, the bran muffin, the chips and sandwich for lunch, and then maybe overeating or grabbing fast food for dinner time. It's a very standard American way to eat, but something I would encourage you to do is change that, right? So what would you change that to? So my recommendation would be starting the day out with 30 to 40 grams of protein. Now, if you are subscribed to the Parkside Nutrition email list, that Free Ship Friday library has tons of meal plans in it, lots of ideas and ways to figure out how to get that 30 to 40 grams of protein at most meals. So definitely check that out, but we'll kind of talk through some examples. So yogurt and blueberries is a great option. 1 ounce of like mixed nuts. I do prefer mixed nuts over like a granola. It's just going to have less sugar, more nutrition, or moderate in calories most likely as well. Big dash of cinnamon. Cinnamon's very good for helping to balance our blood sugar as well. So that kind of mixture. If you don't like Greek yogurt, you could also do cottage cheese. Very similar as far as protein content. You could also do a egg veggie scramble with like salsa or avocado on top. Those would be fantastic breakfast options. If you're really not a breakfast person and you're like, Allie, there's no way I could eat that much first thing in the morning, have something small. You can literally train your body to be, accepting of food in the morning. So maybe it's just one of those small single serve 15 grams of protein, yogurts in the morning. That's a start. And then eventually we can kind of build up to that and have maybe like a part two, breakfast part two later. That's absolutely an okay strategy as well. And then I'd like us to get mostly to lunch, maybe a small snack, but hopefully if you are having a snack, it has some protein in it. Maybe that's a protein bar or, a meat stick, a jerky stick, something like that. A couple ounces of jerky, that could be a good one too, because again, we're getting some of that protein. And then a lunch, ideally you have a protein source. So if you still want something convenient like a sandwich, I would say a carb balance wrap. Those have a ton of fiber, minimal carbs. You can stuff it full of some greens. You can put your favorite, flavoring in there as far as like cream cheese, hummus, avocado or guacamole. Add a protein in there, whether that's chicken, ground turkey, something along those lines, 'cause you need that protein. Sometimes that can be hard to fit in a wrap. You could also turn your favorite sandwich or wrap into a salad as well and do all the same toppings, but you just put it over a bed of greens, have a good dressing in there. And we got our protein, we got fiber, we got plants, we got flavor in there. Flavor usually provides some healthy fats in there. And this is going to keep us much more even, much more fulfilled throughout the day. And then that sets us up really well for the evening time. I also really like having a snack kind of planned for dinner. And quite often, this is actually some of leftover lunch. So if I pack my lunch, sometimes if I'm eating really mindfully, I notice that I actually can't quite finish it. If you can, that's fine. We can have another snack later. But quite often, if I eat my lunch mindfully, I can't finish it without feeling a little bit too full. So instead, I like to save that little piece of lunch and have that as a snack before dinner. And then I feel like I can usually take a second, pause, and make myself a good dinner. Dinner is following that same format. So what's my protein source? Where am I getting my colorful plants from? What kind of flavors do I want to incorporate? Where's my healthy fat? So this could be a, taco salad, or this could be steak, green beans, sweet potato, broccoli, something like that on the side. But got that protein, got the colorful plants, got the flavor, so I still enjoy it, etc. That is the kind of basic framework I would look for. That's going to give us really good energy levels, going to give us lots of protein, and it's going to give my body a lot of nutrition. This is the thing I really like to focus on when someone is tracking their food, especially if they use the app that I recommend, which is the Chronometer app, because you can count your calories, macros, protein, all of that, which is great. But it will also give you an indication of your nutrition scores. And this is how many vitamins and minerals your body is consuming. And if I'm giving my body a lot of vitamins and minerals to function really well, then that's going to help boost my energy levels as well, right? So just keep that in mind. It's not just about calories in, calories out. It's not just about macros. It's about the whole picture. So if I'm giving my body what it needs to function optimally, I'm probably going to get the best possible result. So keep that in mind. Remember our reminders from the beginning. Make sure you get a walk today or move your body in some intentional way. Fuel yourself for good health, good bowel movements, and good moods. And go to bed on time, people. Come on. All right. That's all I got for you today. Make sure you're subscribed to the email list at parksidenutrition.com/subscribe to get all the latest podcasts, free resources, everything delivered to your inbox every Friday. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.